Hey, it's Veena V and welcome to Mum to Millionaire. This is the place if you want to get motivated and excel in business and life. Today on the show, we have got, look how cute she is. She is a mum of two. She's a social media manager and the founder of Social Cat. Please welcome to the show, Cat Davis. Woo, 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 woo.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can I just say, if you're watching this on YouTube, again, we are back in the spa and a very random, we tried to make it look nice. If you're listening to the podcast, pop over to the YouTube channel and you can see what is going on. This is what you call DIY filming. This is going to be a great episode because Kat is actually a living and breathing example of what we're talking about. There's a lot of mums out there that might want to change their career, that might be looking at social media and think, oh my God, it's so flexible. It can fit in with the school runs. I can make a decent amount of money. And that's why we've got Kat here today, because you are actually doing this. And this isn't going to be like follow these 10 tips and you will also make £1,000 a month. We're going to be really honest with you, give you some figures and just let you know the truth, because no one's really talking about the truth, are they?
Yeah, I think that it's a great idea. I absolutely love my job, but I work incredibly hard at my job, and there's no easy fix. There's no this isn't the magic bullet to a work-life balance, but it can be an answer, and I'm going to share how to do it and then the reality of doing it.
Yeah. So if you want to be a social media manager, this is the podcast for you, and we're going to give you the realistic side to it as well. So you started your company called Social Cat. How did you, tell us a bit before, why did you want to get into social media in the first place?
So I used to be a management consultant and stopped that to have children because I travel Monday to Friday, and then realised I couldn't go back into management consultancy. So what was I going to do? I was on Facebook, I was hit with this advert, flexible work, no childcare. And I thought, well, wow. And then my friend, who our daughters do ballet together at the time, they were 2.5, very cute ballet class. She said, have you heard of this Digital Mums? And I said, that's so strange. I got hit with an advert on Facebook. And she said, well, I'm signing up to do it. My friend's done it. So I Googled it, and within a week I'd signed up. And it's a 6-month course that trains you on how to be a social media manager. So I did that, and then they hired me to be their social media manager straight off the course, and I worked with them for 10 months, and meanwhile setting up my Social Cat business. So I've done it for about 2 years now, and Social Cat is up and running. So I would say the reason that Social Cat came into existence is because I couldn't go back to my old job. It wasn't flexible enough, and I wanted to go back into the workplace, and Digital Mums trained me up.
And you've got 2 gorgeous little children as well, so you get to spend time. Those days of a toddler, I do miss them.
They're horrendous. I can't wait for them to be over, to be honest.
That is the reality. I don't know why I'm pretending like I miss the toddler years, because I actually don't. It's not.
It's terrible.
So even instantly then, a mum's like, yeah, Kat did it. Kat had a job and she's into social media. Now, so you did stuff for the Digital Mums, and then obviously that was a paid job you had with them. But after that, so when you started up your company, I mean, how on earth, actually, no, before we talk about how you found clients, how can other mums actually, is it just as simple as learning how to do Instagram and then being able to then do that for a client? What does someone actually have to do? What is the first step, I suppose, to being a social media manager?
I think it's all about finding your niche. Okay, so whether you do training or not, and there's a couple of courses out there. There's Digital Mums, there's Google Academy, you can upskill yourself. It's not just the skills. It's being very clear about what you are going to bring to the market, and I believe in that every person can have a value, can offer something, you know, and it's just all about finding your niche. And as the Americans say, there's riches in the niches. They actually say that. So I am all about finding your tea. So it's great to learn everything there is about social media, but it's constantly changing. In fact, I do a weekly news broadcast which tells you every week what's changed that week, and I've got 10 minutes of worth of stuff to say every single week about what's changing, because it changes that fast. So yes, there's general social media expertise, but you have to think about how a client's going to find you, and I think that's all about having a niche. So for me, I've specialized in video, so I put out content that says, if you need to put a subtitle on your video, here's how to do it. And that, you might think, hang on, that's not jumping up and down saying I'm a social media manager, buy me, but that buy me. But I'm answering a specific problem that somebody might be having the problem, and then they find my video, they find me helpful, and then they might hire me for my video skills. And what is a truism of all freelance work is that it's much easier to upsell to an existing client than it is to find a client. Finding a client and building that trust relationship, long time. And so long time. So the less you have to do that, the better. So this is why have a niche, and then answer a problem, build a relationship with a client, answer that one problem, sell them that one solution, and then you can wow them with doing a brilliant job for them, and then you can grow into selling them more social media expertise.
So let's give an example of that. So if a mum, for example, is really good at, she's already good at taking photos, okay? So she could start her Instagram, and then would you obviously advise them to literally learn everything there is on Instagram, go onto YouTube, and obviously like take some courses as well? Because I think with YouTube is obviously fantastic. You can learn so much, but I really believe sometimes you have to actually invest and go to a workshop or do a course. Do you believe, especially if you actually want to do this as your career?
Yeah, so that's a great example. So Instagram is absolutely brilliant, and there's a couple of great courses, for instance, like the Make Like course, that's run by Emily Quinton, which I've actually taken, although I'm no Instagram specialist, just to improve myself, just to upskill myself. But what is more important than the course is great because it teaches you all about apertures and other such technical terms, but it's more than that. It's the community and the network, and this is why if you want to do something for a job, you need to, whether it's going on a course or going to a network event, you need to start building relationships with that thing with other people who specialize in what you specialize in, because those are the relationships, those are the collaborations that's gonna get you work. It is 100% about people. Selling to people. Exactly. And it's collaboration is one of the strongest things you have, and something I see people doing wrong time and time again is competing against people rather than collaborating with them.
Exactly. That is so true. So don't fall into that trap. Okay, so a lady, I'm really like, what's that word? Genderist, because I know there's dads that do listen to this as well, so sorry, I am including you. So parents listening to this, so they found their niche, they've literally immersed themselves in maybe one or two different platforms they want to specialize in, and then what is the next step? Do they literally just set up their own company, or what do they need to do?
Well, I'm very practical. I would say it's great getting a listing with Companies House, great ordering those business cards, great getting a website, lovely. Who's going to go on that website? Let's be honest, 0 people. 0 people. So you've spent a lot of money on a website that no one goes to. So I am all about being practical. I think especially in the social media world, and especially if you're selling social media skills, you need to be active on platforms. But I would say choose your platforms wisely. Okay, it takes time which mums especially don't have to run active social media platforms, and you better be good, because clients, that's your shopfront. Clients are going to go on if you say you're an Instagram specialist, you better have a banging Instagram. You better be smashing the gram.
That sounds so wrong.
I know.
Sounds something a teenager like.
I got it off James Corden, the late show. It was terrible. I can't get it out of my head. I keep saying it. So you're smashing the gram. You should be smashing the gram. So choose your platforms really wisely, and be aware that they're your shopfront. You need to be active. So there's all these rules of thumb. I'm not so fond of these rules, but bear in mind, Instagram should be posting once a day, Facebook once a day, Twitter between 10 and 40 times a day, LinkedIn once a day, Pinterest 30 times a day. Yes, you did hear that right. That's Pinterest 30 times a day, power pinning, and YouTube twice a week, and be consistent about it. So whatever platform you pick, you must be active, and you must be following best practice, and you must be at the top of your game, because otherwise, when clients hear about you, you've put out your content which attracts them, that's answered their specific problem, then they're going to check you out, and they need to be confident that you're an expert and you're worth buying from. So then it's all about the profile picture. It's about clear descriptions. It's about completing your profile fields. But I clicked on a Twitter profile the other day, and there wasn't any words, no bio, nothing. So I was like, who are you? What do you do? How do we build this relationship? You've reached out, you've done the hard bit, I'm interested, I've clicked your profile.
There's nothing there. And especially if you want to be a social media manager, you have to have a polished, so you don't need to have thousands and thousands of followers, but you just, like Kat said, you need to be, it's your portfolio. It's your shop front. If you've got a really crap Instagram and you're selling an Instagram course, or you want to do Instagram for a client, I'll be like, but you haven't posted for a year, so
it's never going to work. You have to put in the word. If you want to get really slick, you could include keywords and phrases, include emojis. People do sometimes search on emojis, so it's worth, like, I have the video emoji everywhere. And
I think that's a really good tip, actually, because I always put like a little camera thing, or YouTube, just always having that word for me, YouTube, in my description. It makes such a difference, because people instantly think, oh yeah, Kat video, Veena YouTube, or whoever's teaching. You know, there's so many people, Amy Porterfield, Facebook. I always think of these different people because they're always on that platform, and they've got something in their bio that oh yeah, I forgot about them.
And it's repeated. So I am Kat X Davis on every profile, and every profile bio says the same thing. Exactly the same thing. And keep it updated, because you change. So when I started out 2 years ago, I was actually a Snapchat expert. That's how I got my break. And that's how I got the role at Digital Mums, was because I was one of, Snapchat was just taking off a couple of years ago. It was getting into the business world, and I was a native user, quite old for the platform. She's
not old.
I was quite old to be on the Snapchat, and I became an expert, and so I started up. So all my platforms, all my bios said Snapchat, and I've since evolved, because Snapchat is obviously video. I've since evolved into video storytelling, and that's set up my YouTube channel, and it all naturally happens. And I think that's something else to bear in mind, is don't get hung up on your business strategy to be 100% finished. Like, your business strategy will evolve. Your niche will evolve. It will shrink. It will grow. But keep that shop front updated. Keep those bios.
I'm so glad you said that, because this is where I think a lot of people get stuck. They might have followed all this information so far. They've got their social media up and running, but then they don't ever take action, because they think, oh, but you need to stick to one thing. You don't. You just start with something. Like Kat, she started with Snapchat, and now she's doing more video-based things. And I forgot about that, because when I met Kat last year, you were like, I just forgot, because now I know you're doing video stuff. So it's not even difficult to transition. No,
not at all. And forever, Snapchat became actually, it wasn't profitable. I'll be completely off it. It was brilliant, because it got my name out there. It was great marketing, and I did help lots of businesses with their Snapchat, but the problem was I'd write their Snapchat strategy, and they would have to deliver it, because it's very hard to snap for people. And also remotely, it was not. I'm a mum first and foremost, and I can't snap around my kids. It just didn't work. But that doesn't mean it failed. That just means that the social cat brands evolves, and
exactly, this is the main point.
And don't ever let. I'm a big doer. It's actually a problem, because I just do all the time, and I'm like, do this. I start all these projects, and consistency is my problem. But what I find is that a lot of people are scared to do, especially in my video community. They don't want to get on the camera. They don't want to start their series. They don't want to commit to something, and it's because it's not perfect, because they don't feel they have 100% of the skills. And it's only by doing that you will ever build up the confidence to keep going. And it's only by doing that you will be able to test the market. Like I said, is there a market for this Snapchat stuff? Yes, there was, but it wasn't enough to pay the rent. So,
and it didn't, I think the key also, it didn't fit in with your life. Yeah. And if you're starting a business, if you have not started yet, and you want to be a social media manager, you want it, the whole point of you doing this, you want it to fit in with you and be flexible and around your kids at the end of the day.
Exactly. And there's all sorts of different levels of social media management. Like, you can sit in an office 9 till 5 for a massive brand. You can, you know, and then on the other side of the scale, you can be doing 1 or 2 hours a week, scheduling up content for one client. You know, the range you can earn is huge, and it's finding what actually works for you. And you might start and think, I'm going to be right at that top end. I want to work with Pepsi and Coca-Cola and Adidas and Nike. That's what I want to do. Great. And the reality of that might be terrifying, and you might actually scale way back and say, actually, those aren't the clients I want to go for. I actually want to go for the other solo entrepreneurs sort of.
And me and Kat were talking about this before we started recording this, and we have both like said no, and I can't believe I do it now, seriously, but we say no to work sometimes just so we don't make ourselves more sick, or just so we can pick our kids up from school, and it hurts. Like, I felt like crying before, like saying no to £400, that will pay my blimming mortgage, and do you know what I mean, for that. But sometimes you have to be sane at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, we were just talking about summer holidays. Yeah, so my childminder quit on me, summer holidays, bad times. So I literally earned like £0 for July. And that hurts, it's harsh. You look on your social media and you start going into a panic because all these other people are doing all these amazing gigs and amazing jobs, and you think, oh, I'm really failing here. But it's just reality. It was summer holidays. Like, I can't look after 2 kids full time and run a full time successful business. It's a constant balancing act, and it's hard.
I think a lot of people do, and this is the thing that a lot of people don't talk about, and I really appreciate Kat going into this. What is realistic to make money when you're now set up your social media management agency? What is the reality of making money from the start? And will you have to take on a lot of free clients to start with, or is there other ways around that?
So I think it all depends on your experience. If you've been a marketing manager for 20 years and you want to pivot into social media management, no, you should be charging good rates to write a strategy. If you haven't had any experience in marketing and you've literally done your own Instagram as a hobby, then I think you need to build up professional experience. And by doing that, I think it's about, yes, sometimes you should swap skills. I don't think you should work for free. I think that's really negative for everyone, and I don't think you're valued. I don't think your opinion's valued, and I actually think that can be really confidence crushing, especially for somebody starting up. But I think swapping skills, so saying, okay, you know, we're in a spa, so you could say, okay, I'll have 6 spa treatments in exchange for doing your Instagram for a month, that sort of thing. I think that works really positively, and I would say always have an eye on you know, what that's going to do for you. So don't just take or swap skills with anyone who asks. I would say, you know, be strategic about it. Think, okay, I'm fascinated by food, so I'm only going to work for free or swap skills with food bloggers, and I'm going to build up this portfolio. And once I've got 5, I'm going to have a show reel, or I'm going to have my Instagram looking like this, and then I'm going to charge whatever you charge, $250 a month, $500 a month. And I think the best advice I got given about charging is actually from Marie Evans, who's a very smart lady, and she said charge by output, not by day rate, because it's especially as freelance mums, we're going to work around, and like, what is a day? Genuinely, what is a day? Some weeks are so crazy. One day, 7 hours output could take me Monday to Friday. Other days, I work insanely. You would not believe how much work I could do in 3 hours. It's crazy. I'm on fire when I have my head down and my focus. So charge by output, and that will really help. And don't be afraid to know your value. I think it's very difficult. Charging rates are very difficult. I think the final thing I would say is take a look at the business you're selling to. So my first ever client is Penny from Green Ginger Design.
Hi
Penny. She is absolutely fabulous. She's a website design agency, and she does branding and logos, and she's got a great design eye. So we started out, she was my first client, and she had nothing, 0 followers on any platform.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy story. 2 people knowing nothing, going like jumping off a ship together. But we've made it work. She's got a business. I've still got a business 2 years later. So we set her up on Facebook and Twitter, and I realised that she was a solo one-woman band website design agency, and it just wouldn't have been possible for her to pay me every single month as her social media manager. She, the business was not big enough to sustain me, and you have to acknowledge that. You have to know that, and you have to work with that. You have 2 options at that stage. You can rinse them for everything they've got and say, okay, it's £500 a month, $750 a month. That's what I'm taking from you. But it's only going to last 3 or 4 months until they say, I can't afford this. You're not giving me the value. Unless you're bringing in 10 clients a month for me, I can't pay this. And it's not going to end great for you. They're never going to become your brand advocate.
And plus, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself as well then.
Huge. And it's just not. Whereas with Penny, I worked with her and I said, okay, I could work for you. I'll have a 3 months off and then I'll have 1 month on, or I'll have 3 months off and then 3 months on, or I'll do you a campaign around Christmas, New Year, new website, new me. And then I started to make more and more videos, and I said, look, let's have a filming day and I'll make videos for you, which worked for me because I built up my video portfolio. She got a lot of videos. So I worked with her and we have a great friendship and a great respect. And I also passed on knowledge and upskilled her as I learned, she learned, and I enabled her to run her own social media platforms, which sounds totally counterintuitive. But what you're selling as a social media manager is time. You're selling a service which is to save them time. So when her website agency, which I'm sure is going to go from strength to strength, I 100% know I'm going to get a call to say, like, make me a video, write me some blogs. Now is the time. We're going to crush Facebook together.
And this is what Kat is doing is a much better strategy, because Kat is, even though it might hurt you financially at the start, you're building a business at the end of the day. Kat has now got a long-term client, and it's through working with her rather than going, okay, $1,000 for social media management for the month. Okay, bye. It's pointless.
It's pointless. And the hardest thing is to win a client. So once you've got one client, be really sympathetic, pass on as much knowledge. And Penny tags me on Instagram. She mentions me all the time. We Instagram story together. We meet up, go for our ice cream on Instagram walks. Like, we have a really great relationship, but she's a brand ambassador for me. I'm a brand ambassador for her. Like, I've just mentioned her brand on this podcast. Like, you collaborate. That is the key to running any successful business.
Okay, and quickly, because I know there's going to be comments from people, because we didn't properly go into it, but what should, and I know, and people ask me this all the time, I'm like, it's such a range of what you should charge. But if there is a mum, you just started, what should someone charge if you've gone past the skill swapping stage now? Is it, and it's really good what you said about the output as well, but is it charging, I don't know, $250 a month for?
I mean, so I can only share what I did. So I said, okay, you want me to run one platform, it's £300. You want me to run 2 platforms, it's £500. You want me to run 3 platforms for you, it's £750. And that is scheduling content and engaging on a daily basis on your channels. But I don't know if I'm in London. That makes a difference where you are. And also,
you've got different experience as well.
Exactly. So I have come from a management consultancy background, so I can write somebody a really, really strong strategy. And what I found is actually, no one's ever hired me for 3 platforms. I don't think. Most people go for 2 platforms. And those were my start out rates. But now I really don't do that much active social media management every day, except on my own channels. What I do is I produce videos for them, but I would say those are like relatively standard, sensible rates to go in at, but that's just to build your experience. And once you've found your niche, if you're writing a strategy for somebody, charge for that. If you're training somebody, charge for that. If you're creating a blog for them, that's in addition. If you're taking beautiful photos for somebody, that's in addition. Videos in addition. So that
It's kind of looking at the industry as a whole, maybe looking what other people are doing. Don't copy them. Just look at maybe similar prices people. But like Kat said before, know your worth. And everyone's going to be different. Like if you haven't got 20 years of experience in marketing, you can't charge as much because you need to be realistic.
Exactly.
If you need to build your experience up at the end of the day.
And I would also say there is Fiverr exists, which is a platform where people offer to tweet for a month for literally £5, $5. They normally live in Asia, like other countries like Indonesia, Philippines. So they can massively undercut you.
Yeah.
But obviously they're literally just tweeting, there'll be spelling errors, there'll be all sorts of problems. So don't try and be the cheapest, because the cheapest is in the Philippines. So you won't
that strategy's out the door.
Unless you want to move there, that can't be done. So you're not going for the clients who just want an inane, not engaged robotic situation that doesn't convert for them. You're saying, I'm going to bring you more value about converting. And I would say if you start charging more rates, you should be really on your analytics and be prepared to send weekly reports or monthly reports to your clients saying, these are the strategies and this is your data, and this is what I've done for you. Be able, when you start charging people money, they're going to want to see results, and you have to be confident that you're going to deliver those results.
And to be honest, I think Kat has got it spot on, and I do this as well. Always go for the long term. It might hurt you in the short term. You might be crying on your floor going, we didn't make any money in August, but I did work extremely hard in June to the point of where I got ill before my holiday because I was just taking on things, and maybe I shouldn't have done that, but this is the way of life. But just to give you some realistic advice, I really, really hope this helped you. Kat, thank you so much for being honest, because a lot of people won't be honest. So, and this is what Mum to Millionaire is all about, delivering you the information from mums like Kat who are doing it, and we just want to help you at the end of the day. So
Totally.
Kat, where can we find out more about your beautiful face?
You can see me on Social Cat YouTube channel. I also run the Social Cat video community. Search for that on Facebook. It's free, and I literally upskill you to make better social videos. And I'm Kat X Davis on every platform.
See, nice and easy. Thank you so much for coming onto the show, and we'll have all of Kat's links, her beautiful face, and some nice motivation for you on the blog mumtomillionaire.com/episode 66. We'll see you next week. Bye.